In this piano tutorial, I want to share a couple of gospel passing chords that I actually heard on TikTok, but I forgot the name of the song. So if any of you guys recognize the song, you can write it in the comments section below, okay? Now, let's do this lesson in C major. That way we can visualize all of the chords and passing chords. And this song actually goes from the 1 to the 4, then the 6, then it plays a 2 and a 5, and back to the 1. And when we play it including the passing chords, it sounds something like this. And this is why it's a very useful song, because we can actually use it as an exercise to practice these passing chords, okay? So we start on the 1 and we use the passing chords. And it repeats. Okay, but what is going on in this song? How do we come up with these passing chords, or what formulas can we memorize? What methods can we memorize to form these same progressions or these same passing chords in other keys? Okay, so the first, I guess we can think about it in different chunks, right? The first step or the first passing chord that we do is going from the 1 to the 4. Which is a very common progression when we go from the 1 to the 4, right? We go from C major to F major. So what we do here in this case is play C major, and then we're actually going to go up that C major scale using the diatonic chords in this case, right? So we play C major, then a D minor 7, right? This is the first passing chord. And then for the 3, instead of playing an E minor, we're actually going to play a 1 over 3, which is voiced as a C sus2 over E, or we can actually voice it as a C7 over 3, right? Or over E. And then we finally reach the 4 chord, which we can voice as an F major or F major 7, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, or 1 over 3, 4, or there's actually another substitution that we can do for this 3, right? And is to make it diminished 7th, right? We can play this E diminished 7th, which is almost very similar to the C7, right? In this case, it would sort of mimic a C7 flat 9, only that we are omitting the C, right? So it would be, but it's totally up to your personal preference which one you decide to use, okay? So, and I like thinking about this passing chord as a way of getting from a major chord to another major chord, right? From C major to F major. So usually when we're going from a major to a major chord, we can use these set of chords. For example, let's say we're going from the 5 to the 1, which is the same exact interval, right? We're going from G major up a 4th to C major, and we can play G, we can play A minor as the 2nd, and then for the 3rd, we can play the 1 over 3, or in this case, it would be a 5 over 7, right? But I was just thinking in terms of the G. And then we reach the 1 chord, right? So, one more time. Something like this, or something like that, or even the G7 over B. Right, so it's a way that we can get from a major chord to another major chord. Now, if we continue along the song, the next chord would be a 6 chord, and we're going from the F to the 6, which is an A minor. So what happens in the song is that we actually use the 3, which is an E, as the starting point for the passing chords to get to the A. Now this E has a very special relationship with this A, right? The E is actually the fifth of A, or we can actually refer to it as the secondary dominant, right? Because we're sort of creating a fifth within a scale that already has a fifth, right? The fifth of C major would be G, but in this case we're using E as a passing chord to get to the A, and it sounds something like this. And what you can notice is that in this case we're going from a major chord, which is E major, and we're approaching a minor chord, which is A minor. And the set of passing chords that we use, the bass note is actually going to follow the E major scale, right? So we're going to go E, F sharp, G sharp, and then A, okay? Now the chords that we play, we start off major, E major, right? For the F sharp, we're actually going to play a half diminished chord. So in order to play this, the way that I like thinking about it is, I'm going to play F sharp, and then I'm going to go up 3 half steps and make that a minor chord, right? A minor. So A minor over F sharp, that gives me that half diminished chord. And of course we can add the octave, or we can invert it, and it's still the same chord, right? So we have major, half diminished. Now for G sharp or A flat, we're going to play a diminished 7th chord. And the way we form this chord is by playing 3 half steps up, and we just continue adding 3 half steps, right? So 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and we can even add another one, okay? So that would be the diminished 7th. So we have major, half diminished, diminished 7th, and then we land on the minor chord, which is A minor. Now there are some variations to this same passing chord, right? We can go major, then instead of playing a half diminished, we can actually voice it as in this case as a 2, right? A major 2, D major over F sharp. So something like that. And then for the G sharp, we can actually voice it as a 3 over this G sharp, right? So this E major over A flat or G sharp. So we have E major, D major, E major again, and then we get to the A minor. So it's a little bit more simple, right? Another way that I've seen people form this passing chord is by using only diminished 7th chords as passing chords, right? So we have this E major, and then we form an F sharp diminished 7th, then a G sharp diminished 7th, and then the minor chord. So it's a different way of doing of getting from that 3 to the 6, right? Now the convenient part of this is that now we're going from the 6 to the D, which is the 2, right? So in this case, the 6 is minor. And remember, what we do is convert it into a major chord as a way to form this secondary dominant, right? Secondary dominants are dominant chords. So in this case, sort of major with a minor 7th. So we're going to use this A7 as a starting point, or simply an A major, and we follow the exact same formula to get to D minor, right? We play, remember the bass notes are now going to follow the A major scale, and we're going to play A major, B half diminished, or B diminished 7th, or G over B, right? 3 different options. Then for the 3rd chord, we play a C sharp diminished 7th, right? And then we land on the minor chord, which is D minor, right? So something like that, or right? And then from here, remember the song just goes 2 5 1. So if we play it all together very slowly. In this case, I added more notes with my left hand. Then we're back to the 1 chord. Let's do another example. Let's use another key to form these same progressions. I think the original key of the song is actually B flat. So let's do it in B flat, right? In this case, how would we get to the 4 from the 1? We would play B flat, then the 2, which is C minor 7, then the 1 over 3, which is B flat over D. And then we get to the 4, and now we want to get from the 3 to the 6, so we're going to play a 3, then this E, right, which we're following that D major scale in this case, so D, E half diminished, F sharp diminished 7th, and then G minor. Then from this G to the C, right, we're going to play G major, A half diminished, B diminished 7th, and then we get to the 2, which is C minor, and we play the rest of the chords, which is a 2-5-1, or technically a 2 flat 7-1. Right, so if you've reached this point of the video, quick reminder, I have a piano course available. It's the first link in the description box below, and you can find all that information there. And if you like these type of videos, remember to subscribe and like the video. That helps out the channel a bunch.